is John Watterson, June, is it the 29th, 1973, and I'm talking to Miss Fannie McAdam. Did you ever go to the cave itself?
The cave?
Isn't there a cave, Wind Cave?
Wind Cave, yes, out here, yes. Hundreds of times, I suppose, is in that thing and during growing up. And this brother Bob and another brother, Larry, and Alvy McDonald were really the first explorers of that cave.
Mm-hmm.
That was back in 1890.
How old were they?
Oh, just kids. Bob was born in 74, I think. The other fellow a couple of years older, I mean, and this McDonald was about the same age.
Mm-hmm. And how did they, what equipment did they have in exploring? Just ladders?
Well, we just went in there and back, and of course you have no conception of how people lived back in those days, but I can recall have all the women are saving this cord, that comes around the things from the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd wind that up in a ball, and they'd get that, and that's what they explored that cave with. They'd take this string and their candles, and of course at that time there was no way to get in that cave, only just about crawling. There was a little place there, and then of course they could follow the string back out. And they finally got so, of course, they learned the cave.
Did they explore it entirely?
Well, Bob thinks they did, but of course, and he was in there, it's been several years ago, of course, but there was some young fellows that was guiding there in the summer, and they wanted him to go in with them, so he said he would one night, and he said he'd go someplace, and then he'd tell them to take a certain crevice, and he'd meet them, and these fellows said to me, "Well, that old fella sure knows that cave."
Was it, do you know when it was discovered? I mean, was there a point that somebody found the cave?
Yes, it was really Jess Bingham. I think their history says Tom Bingham, but it was Jess Bingham, and he lived on a place just above the ranch, part of the ranch, really, later.
Mm-hmm.
And he was out, they said, they were early stories, he was out hunting deer.
Mm-hmm.
And he walked down that thing and his hat blew off.
Oh.
So we, of course, investigated a little bit. He went home and told the other fellows around, about this, and of course they didn't believe him.
Mm-hmm.
And he went over there to show them, and that time the wind was going in and took his hat down. Well, they blasted out a little and got down this hole. There really wasn't, well then, of course I won't know just what, but anyhow, there was some fellas that had a mining claim there.
Mm-hmm.
And they hired this McDonald to go down there and, well, kind of take care of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the meantime, they sectionized that place, and he filed on a homestead, so his son. And then Stabler was down here in the hotel business or something, but he bought half interest in this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it went along all right, and they built some buildings out there. They were just frame buildings, and operated this thing for quite a while. Finally, the McDonald proved up on his homestead, and he decided that, well, he had it, he just shut Stabler's out. Well, they got into litigation over this thing, of course. Stabler was trying to, well, keep his half. So finally the government got into the thing, and they declared that, they couldn't find any mineral that they were mining there, and they canceled the homestead, some fraud, and took it over.
They took it over?
The government.
And that's about when was that?
Well, it was really, when they had this decision, it was 1901, but the records say 1903, and that's when they sent at first there was a forest ranger down there for a little while, And Rankin was the first superintendent appointed there. And then he come there sometime in 1903.
Now, did this mean that they began to, tourists began to come in and they began to...
Oh, they came out before
Even
that, you
before
see.
that.
Oh, yes, they were, well, that's what they were quarreling over. They'd come out there, you know, in these,
Did they charge
what they
admission?
call tally holes. Yeah.
Tally holes?
Yeah.
Wagons?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Well, of course, that was before the automobile.
Yeah.
They had these, big tally boats, you know, they drive four horses on the thing.
Yeah.
And they'd come out there, and then they'd always have their dinner, and then they'd go down in the cave, come back. I think it was $1 they charged them to ride out there, and they served them a dinner for 50 or 20